One of the things that we made an agreement with Lewis and Clark, after we took care of their horses and helped them make the canoes at Orofino, fed them, and took guides down with them to near Celilo Falls, Oregon, we made an agreement with him when they came back in '06. Besides an alliance agreement that we tried to do, they also gave us these things, these medals that on one side says peace and friendship and has a bust of Jefferson on the other side. And that was a practice of the United States at the time, to give out medals to tribes as well as other leaders of other countries. But they also did this with tribes as well. And Lewis and Clark brought out many of these medals. Now, the Nez Perce received 7 or 8 medals. And since we sat down with them in Kamiah for about a month, there was a lot of discussion on what we should do with these people, as well, how do we make the relationship work? Well, one of the agreement is that if you're going to give us this medal that says peace and friendship on it, and you want us to be that way, then you treat us the same way. That was the agreement. This is the first treaty between the United States and the Nez Perce people. Well, when treaty time came and when the War of 1877 came, that was ignored. So even though we made these kinds of agreements, the United States ignored these things because it's not written down. All bets are off. Well, to us, that was a sealed and agreed to agreement. So now, the Nez Perce people are in a dilemma. We see things disappearing: our land base, our animals, our fish, our water. Those are being occupied by this half-human creature that came to us. I'm sorry I have to express myself this way, but we also had our own prejudices and biases also. But this is the way our old people talk. And so, even though we had a treaty of 1855, which Red Bear Jr. signed, and there again the alliance is ignored. Clark's son was at the treaty negotiations in Walla Walla, but he was ignored. And then when it became the War of 1877, he was also ignored as well. But Clark's son went with Joseph and Tuhultulsut and Whitebird and the other leaders, and he went through all the battles. The Battle of Whitebird, the Battle of Clearwater, Fort Fizzle, Big Hole, Canyon Creek, and Bear's Paw. He went through all those battles. Clark's son. Clark's son was called Halachtuket, and that means daytime smoker. And this is what we call Clark in 1806. We called him Halachtuket, daytime smoker, because that's what he probably did. He'd smoke during the daytime. So this is a little history. Now this is the tie that I'm describing of Lewis and Clark and those things that we wanted to do. Okay, Clark's son went through the War of 1870, and also another descendant of Red Bear. His name was Watola, and he lived to be 106 years old. He met Spalding. He was also the one that grabbed Lieutenant Jerome's horse at the Battle of Bear's Paw when Joseph was taken prisoner. Watolan held the horse of Lieutenant Jerome, and so they took Jerome back to the Nez Perce camp and kept him prisoner until Joseph was released. And he is a great-grandson of Red Bear. And the ironic thing here is the son of Watolan became the interpreter, called Sam Lott in English, and he being the son of Watolan, he never fought in the Nez Perce War. He was an interpreter after the war. So these things are very ironic that, you know, some of these things occurred the way they did. When we went to war, it just split families right down the middle. Some fought with Joseph, some didn't. They stayed on a reservation.